In an ancient land, there was a kingdom ruled by King Saul. This kingdom was filled with hills, rivers, and valleys, and people worked hard to live in peace and prosperity. However, King Saul was troubled. He was facing a great battle against the Philistines and was afraid. King Saul had tried to seek guidance from God, but he felt no response. He prayed and asked the prophets. He even sought answers through dreams, but nothing seemed to help. In his desperation, Saul decided to seek out a woman known as the Witch of Endor. She was said to have the power to speak with the spirits of the dead, and Saul hoped she could call up the spirit of the prophet Samuel to give him advice. Saul disguised himself by wearing different clothes so that no one would recognize him as the king. He took 2 of his trusted men with him and traveled under the cover of night to the village of Endor. When they finally arrived at the Witch of Endor's home, Saul knocked on her door. The woman opened it cautiously and peered out into the darkness. Saul, trying to hide his identity, asked her to summon a spirit for him. She knew King Saul had banished all mediums and spiritists from the land, but Saul swore that no harm would come to her if she did as he asked. Reluctantly, the witch agreed. She began her rituals, calling upon the spirit of Samuel. Suddenly the room grew cold and a ghostly figure began to appear. The witch gasped and looked at Saul with wide eyes. "Why have you deceived me?" she cried. "You are Saul." Saul fell to the ground, trembling with fear and awe. The spirit of Samuel spoke with a serious voice that filled the room. He reminded Saul that the Lord had turned away from him because of his disobedience. The spirit told Saul that the upcoming battle against the Philistines would end in a devastating defeat. But that wasn't the worst part. Samuel revealed that Saul and his sons would die in the battle the next day. They would join Samuel in the realm of the dead. Hearing this, Saul was struck with an even deeper sense of dread and despair. He realized that not only would he lose the battle, but he and his sons would lose their lives as well. As the first light of dawn broke, Saul and his men left the witch's home. They returned to the camp, but Saul's heart was heavy knowing his impending doom. The next day, just as Samuel's spirit had foretold, the battle went poorly. The Philistines overpowered them, and Saul's sons were killed. Saul, gravely wounded and fearing capture, took his own life by falling on his sword. The story of Saul and the Witch of Endor teaches us an important lesson about trust and obedience. When King Saul felt lost and afraid, he tried to find answers in the wrong places. Instead of trusting God and being patient, he went to a witch, which was against God's commands. This story shows us that even when we are scared or uncertain, we should remain faithful and trust the right path. Seeking help in the wrong places can lead to more trouble and sorrow. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring content.